Hello, gorgeous community. Welcome to day 2 of our 34 love tips, intimacy tips, relationship tips. And for anyone who missed my live video yesterday, I actually turned 34 this week on the 16th. And I have decided to celebrate with you guys by sharing a free teaching every day for 34 days. So if you are ready to make a shift in your love life, then you are not going to want to miss this. And for anyone who's here, let me know if you're watching live. You can say hi, you can leave a little comment. If you have any thoughts or feelings or stories or questions, then let me know, because I would love to actually have a real-time conversation with you. And if you're watching this on the replay, maybe you can help us out a little bit and you can give us a little cheeky hashtag replay. And that way we're going to be able to spread this video as far as we can take it within this private community. So, gorgeous people, how are you doing? How are you in your love life right now? If you're in a relationship, how are you feeling? How connected are you? How safe, secure, satisfied, intimate are you guys right now? And if you're single, where are you in that journey? How confident are you feeling to be consciously dating, to be meeting someone who is capable of building the kind of relationship and connection you're looking for? I would love to hear. So I am going to dive in today into our second teaching. We're going to be diving off the deep end today. I was kind of tempted to do something a little more easy to swallow. But at the same time, we're here to create deep, profound intimacy. That's why we're in this group. So I'm here to really dive into the heart of an amazing topic with you today. I know it's going to resonate. We are going to be talking about facing your shadow in your relationships. Okay? So let me know in the comments if you've done any work with your shadow, if you're familiar with this term, what it means to you. This is something that I have found is really unavoidable when we're searching for the kind of deep, intimate, inspiring connection that I know all of us are searching for in this community. So I want to start by really talking about some of the differences between a role-based relationship, which I think many of us have come across maybe in our family, maybe not our parents, but our parents' parents or our parents' parents have experienced a role-based relationship. And maybe even you yourself have experienced a role-based relationship versus an intimacy-based relationship. So for me, one of the major differences between being in a relationship where we are together based off of our roles versus based off of intimacy is that when we're in a relationship that's based off of roles, what we're doing is we're coming into that relationship and we're saying, the way that we're going to work as a team is I am going to play out a very specific role and you're going to play out a very specific role. So for example, the classic example is I'm going to look after the children and you're going to go out and work. I'm going to provide physical, emotional sustenance to our family, and you're going to provide financial and security needs for us. And that's how we're going to work our system. That's how we're going to make sure that we're getting along. That's what we're going to base our relationship on. Now, I want you to feel into if that is something that you're looking for in your life. I'm guessing, seeing as you're in this group, that kind of relationship where you come into the relationship playing a particular role is not going to fulfill you on the levels that you're actually looking for. Because, of course, when we're playing a role, we're not coming as our full self. Okay, I'm playing the mother, or I'm playing the good girl, or I'm playing the provider, or I'm playing whatever role it is that I'm fitting myself into. What I find again and again and again and again with my clients is that these days, and let me know if this is resonating with you, these days we are looking for so much more than a role-based connection. I am looking to feel seen by you. I'm looking to feel safe emotionally with you. I'm looking for us to be sensually connected. I'm looking for us to cheer each other on in our ventures, in our life's goals. I'm looking for us to have a conscious, deep, emotionally connected relationship where we're both able to be fully ourselves. Now, if this is the kind of relationship you're looking for, and I'm guessing it is, seeing as you're in this group, the first thing that we have to realize is that this kind of relationship requires us to show up in our authenticity. It requires us to show up as the fullness of who we are. Okay, I'm not just going to show up as this certain role. I'm actually going to show you all the different parts of me. My thoughts, my feelings, my fears, my desires. I'm going to share that inner world with you. And this is where we start to circle back to the topic of today's video, which is facing your shadow. Okay. So, have you heard of the shadow before? What does that bring up for you? For me, the shadow part of us is the part of us that we have disowned, that we don't accept as part of our identity. So let me give you an example. I identify as a very generous, giving, open-hearted person. That's a part of my identity as a person, as a human, as a woman, as a partner, and as a mentor. So part of my shadow is all of the parts of me that can sometimes be selfish, demanding, and unsafe. Okay? So we start to see that our shadow is really usually it's the wild, sometimes dangerous, sometimes unpredictable parts of ourselves that we have disowned, and we've cast them into the shadow. Okay. Now, in my experience, we all have this shadow because we're humans, because we want to be good people, because we have a social face. We all have a shadow. And if you're watching right now and you're kind of a little bit doubtful about whether you have a shadow, I would invite you to think about the way you are when you first meet someone, okay? This could be if you're dating, when you first meet a romantic person on a date, or it could even be just a person at work. And imagine how you show up in that situation. For most of us, we tend to show up on a first date, a second date, in our quote unquote best self. We try and show the parts of us that are shiny, the parts that we like about ourselves. And then as we get to know someone more, as we get closer to a person, as we start to become attached to that person, then all of a sudden, these other parts of us, these shadowy parts of us, come to the foreground. Now, in a role-based relationship, we can kind of do a pretty good job of really avoiding our shadow. Okay, because I can come in, I can play my role. It's fairly simple. You play your role, I'll play my role. But when we're showing up from an intimacy-based relationship, that's when we start to encounter all of the depths of who we are, okay? Our fears, our triggers, the parts of us that look to control, the parts of us that look to be tyrannical, okay? The shadow parts of us. Let me know if you're here live, if you're watching, then let me know in the comments. Have you encountered your shadow part? Okay, or more, maybe a better question would be, when was the last time you encountered your shadow? Okay. I'm going to share my story because I actually encountered my shadow last night. So let me know if you can relate to this. I was sat in this room. My partner, Joanne, had gone out for the day and had spent some time with some friends. And he came back and I was expecting us to spend the evening together. And when my partner came back and he said to me, "Oh, I'm actually thinking of going out again to see a really good friend of mine," I felt my shadow come up, okay? This is the part of me that wanted to sulk, punish him emotionally, that wanted to control the situation, to say, "No, you're staying here. I want you to stay here." Okay? Are you starting to feel this murky, kind of shadowy part of me that came out? And the truth is that we all have this shadow. Okay? So there's no shame in this. We all have a part of us who is powerful and dangerous and tyrannical and oppressive and destructive, okay? Now, I'm not saying that this part needs to take over. I'm not saying that at all. And I'm also not saying that we don't have a beautiful part of us that is so big and expansive and capable of really selfless love and harmony and peace and nobility. And also, we're human mammals, okay? We have our shadows. Now, for any of you who are animal lovers, you have probably seen when, let's say you have a dog. I'm a big dog person. So when my dad first got his dog, Molly Jenkins, And she did not trust me at all. And she didn't feel safe. She didn't feel secure. I saw a very different dog to the dog that I see now. Okay, the dog that I see now is like a big ball of fluff. She is super cute, really affectionate, and so lovely. But when I first met Molly Jenkins, she was scary. Okay, she would growl at me, like really telling me, back off. I don't trust you yet. Now, the beautiful thing about animals is that they've actually integrated all of these parts of them. In other words, they don't have a social face. They don't try and look good and shiny all of the time. They have integrated all of the different parts of them. They can show their teeth, but they can also be soft and loving. For us humans, I think we struggle more with this, okay? So why are we talking about the shadow? Why am I unpacking this today? Here's the thing. If you want to have the deep, profound connection that I think you're looking for, one of the things you're going to have to do is you're going to have to master and befriend your shadow. Okay? I actually feel really excited about this because your shadow holds so much power. Okay? Your shadow holds your strength. Okay? Your heart, your spine, your sense of boundaries. So much is found in your shadow. And when you learn how to share this with your partner in a safe way, to actually integrate your shadow, that's when we get to experience the depths of this super conscious, super intimate relationship where I actually see you. I see your fears. I see your blocks. I see your shadow. I see everything about you, and I accept you as you are. Okay? Because you've mastered your shadow. Because we're safe. And you can see me and all the parts of me. And because you see my shadow and not just my shiny parts, not just my best angles, okay? You see the real crunch of some of the most difficult parts of me to love. You see them and you accept them. That's when we start to experience the kind of love that is really based in acceptance, safety, and authenticity. Okay? Our shadow. So, what happens when we start to avoid our shadow? And actually, before I go into that, let me just kind of unpack the shadow a little bit more, because you might be thinking, okay, this is kind of resonating, but how does it show up for me? I want you to ask yourself, what is the part of me that sometimes is destructive, okay, in my love life? What is the part of me that sometimes aims to destroy rather than create? You might ask yourself, what is the part of me that is actually tyrannical, that wants to lead, that wants to, and I don't mean lead in a heart-led way, but wants to oppress my partner, that wants to put my agenda on them. Okay? Are you starting to feel this? What is the part of me that wants to manage them and control them? and emotionally castrate them, or whatever the male equivalent is if you're male and you have a female partner. What is the part of me that wants to impose my wants, my desires onto them? Okay? So when we look at our shadow as it shows up in our relationships, a lot of the time it's actually coming from a deep sense of fear. I'm afraid to let go of control. I'm afraid to respect you as a sovereign person and just trust that you'll still choose me. I'm afraid to let go of control, to let go of manipulation. I'm afraid that if I stop managing things, then my needs won't be met. Okay. So very often our shadow is actually there to protect us. It's there with intentions like making sure our needs get met. Okay, have you ever found yourself like having a bit of a meltdown or really creating an unsafe environment in your relationship? But deep down, it's because you are hurting and you have a need that's going unmet. Okay. Yeah. So you might also think of your shadow as the judge, jury, and executioner. And if you're not sure how your shadow shows up, you can always ask your partner, what are some of the ways that I make us feel unsafe for you? What are some of the ways that I do that? And I'm sure if you're in a relationship right now, I'm sure your partner will offer some feedback to you. Yeah, this is the work of seeing the fullness of ourselves, not just seeing the parts of us that we want to present. And this is the amazing thing about relationships. Gorgeous, gorgeous people. Our relationship is the ultimate mirror. And every day it invites us to see more of ourselves and to accept more of ourselves and to love more of ourselves and to master and care for more of ourselves. But what happens when we disown our shadow? Okay. So some indications that you might be disowning your shadow are you never get angry, you never fight, okay? You avoid the difficult conversations in your relationship. If you're dating, you're not strong on what it is you're looking for, okay? You want to be liked. You want to be loved and validated, and you want to, you're willing to get rid of any parts of you that are not shiny and lovable in order to do that. Okay, so if you've struggled with people pleasing, chances are you have not befriended your shadow. If you struggle with setting boundaries and saying no, or saying, yes, this is what I need, this is what I want, this is what I desire, this is what I'd love for us to do, then you probably haven't befriended your shadow. Okay? When we ignore our shadow and we act as if it doesn't exist, what happens is our relationships end up lacking the intimacy. Why is this? Because when we stop being honest about all of who we are, okay? When we say, I'll just be whatever you want me to be. What do you want to have for dinner today, sweetheart? Or, oh, you want a monogamous relationship, but I want polyamory? Well, I'll just go along with what you want, or vice versa. When we start doing that, we lose the intimacy that we're looking for. Because how can we be intimate with someone when we're only showing them our bright, shiny parts? And when we're only showing ourselves our bright, shiny parts. Okay. Yeah. So this comes back to a role-based relationship. I'm going to be the perfect partner for you. Let's say you're a man, okay? This is a wounding that a lot of my male clients struggle with, because it's really challenging right now for a man to own his shadow. Because we're already living in a culture which is really hyper-fixated on men's shadows. So for a man to say, yeah, I'm going to be curious about my shadow, sometimes that can feel so dangerous. And let me know if you're a man watching this, can you resonate? I don't want to explore my shadow because I want to be a good guy. I want to be one of the good guys. So I don't want to explore the part of me that is oppressive, the part of me that's tyrannical, the part of me that is unpredictable or aggressive or, you know, emotionally, spiritually violent. I don't want to explore that. And as a woman, we also have very mixed signals about our shadow. So sometimes the assertiveness, the boundaries, the being in touch with your own needs is seen as not feminine. Okay, so we start to learn, oh, I should be accommodating because that's feminine. And then we're also given mixed messages around, no, you should have this righteous anger. In other words, you should become your shadow. Let your shadow take over. Which also I don't think is helpful in our relationships anyway. So we have so many reasons to avoid going into our shadow, right? It's scary. Isn't it easier for me to just try and be a good partner? Isn't it just easier for me to meet your needs and to think about your needs and try and push all of this other stuff to one side? And I'll just focus on the good parts of me. On you know, have you ever heard that analogy of there are two wolves in you? Which one are you going to feed? The dark one or the light one? So I think for many of us, we think, well, if I just feed the good parts of me, then the shadow will one day disappear. And actually, what I found to be the case in my own life and in the life of my clients is the complete opposite. That the more we ignore the part of us that wants to assert ourselves, that wants to say, hey, listen to me. This is what I need. This is what I want. The more we ignore that, the more we downplay it, actually the more dangerous we become. right? Because one day we are going to explode. And this is the price that humans pay for not integrating our anger, our shadow, all of the darker parts of us. Because we're so ashamed, we banish them into the shadows. And then, of course, one day we snap and we say something. We say something that we later regret. Or we do something that we regret. Why can't I say that word? Regret. So we do something that then destabilizes the relationship. And let's be perfectly honest here. When we ignore our shadow, the relationship is already unstable. Okay? Because we are not showing up as our full self. When we're people pleasing, when we lose our backbone, when we become like jelly, we are not creating a safe environment. Because actually, your partner or your future partner is going to feel so much more safe when you're present in the relationship. When they can feel your wants, needs, desires, boundaries, and they also feel like you have mastered them, or at least that you're working on mastering them. Okay. This is the power of befriending our shadow. And one of the biggest benefits that will happen in your life when you learn how to master this part of you, to really become curious about your shadow and how it shows up, is you will start to support your partner's freedom. Okay? Because right now, your shadow is threatening your partner's freedom, most likely. Because if you have a part of you that wants to impose your thoughts, your beliefs, and we're talking small things here, like, why are you doing the dishes that way? Or are you really going to wear that shirt? Or why don't you ever want to have sex with me anymore? So can you feel how that lack of curiosity, that lack of love, that lack of care that is behind those words is your shadow. It's the part of you that you're probably a little bit embarrassed about. And it's the part of me that I get embarrassed about. So our shadow, when we don't look at it in the face, in the mirror, our shadow threatens to engulf our partner or to override our partner's feelings or to abandon our partner. That's what our shadow threatens to do when we don't have a grip on our shadow. But when we ignore our shadow completely, okay, so we just I don't have a shadow, I'm just bright rainbows, sunflowers, and butterflies. What happens then is your needs don't get met, okay? It's like that episode of Star Trek where I think it's Spock splits into two people, and one of them is the sweet, nice, fairly ineffective part of him, and the other is the tyrannical, action-focused part. And the message of that episode is that actually, without the shadow, the sweet part can't be a good leader. Okay, he can't lead the crew. So we need both parts of us. We need just like any other animal on this planet, we need all of us to show up at the table in order for us to have an amazing relationship. So disowning your shadow and just trying to be good and be nice is not something I would recommend. Number one, your needs are not going to get met. Okay. And number two, you are going to one day explode. And it might not be verbally, it might be in some other way. Okay, we end up overeating or having an emotional affair or overworking or getting ill or having a really destructive argument with our partner where we tear them down because for so long we've ignored a part of us that needed to be represented at the table. So your shadow is actually here to help you get all of your relationship needs met. But it is going to require that you accept that this is part of the journey. Okay? If I am going to experience the deep, profound intimacy with another human being that I'm craving, I need to be prepared to explore my shadow. And I need to be prepared to be open to my partner's shadow as well and to explore that with them in a safe way. How is this resonating? Guys, leave a comment below. If you're watching live, let me know you're here. And if you're watching on the replay, then let me know. What are you taking from this? What is coming up for you? And as an action step for today's little mini training, I'm going to invite you to have a think about a recent time where your shadow came up. So I gave you the example from me. It was just yesterday that my shadow came up. When was the last time yours came up? What does that look like for you? And what was it trying to protect, or what was it trying to communicate to you? If you're feeling super brave, you can leave your answer in the comments. Remember, we are here to get rid of our shame. We are here to own our shadow without shame. Because here's the thing. Our shadow isn't bad. We've made our shadow bad. Our shadow is actually a part of us that needs to be loved and accepted. And if you would like to think about this a little bit more, I'm going to encourage you to actually go back to yesterday's video. So in yesterday's video, we were talking about unmet needs and the needs that we all have in order to have a secure relationship. And I want you to think about those needs in relation to your shadow, because I'm guessing if you have a look at those needs that we covered yesterday, you're probably going to see that your shadow comes up when those needs aren't being met. Okay? And that some of the ways your shadow oppresses other people is because it stops them having their needs being met. So for example, one of the needs that we covered yesterday was feeling accepted exactly as you are. It might be that your shadow doesn't accept your partner, that it criticizes and judges your partner. So there is a relationship between your shadow and the unmet needs in your relationship. And I'm going to encourage you, especially if you're in a relationship right now, to go back and look at those needs and to think about when your shadow pops up. Okay? And even if you are single, okay, your shadow might be a little bit more elusive because it's easier to have the social face when you're meeting people. But really think about the last time you had an intimate connection with someone. It doesn't have to be romantic, but something intimate, and how and when and why your shadow came up and how you reacted to it. Okay? I would love to hear what comes up for you. The big takeaway for me is this. If we want to have a truly deep, profound, and intimate relationship, we need to accept our own shadow. Okay? We need to be curious about when it comes up, and we need to take responsibility for mastering our shadow. And remember that this is a journey, it's not a destination. You're not going to wake up one day and be free from all of the shadowy parts, and you're just light and love and expansiveness. Maybe you will, but I think for most humans, we're here on a human journey, on a mammal journey, and we have all parts of us, and that's okay. It's okay that you have many parts of you, and it's okay that your partner does too. But what we need to do is we need to start accepting rather than shaming and rejecting the parts of us that come up. And the moment we do that, the moment we start being curious, is the moment that real intimacy can be born. So I would love to hear, what is your big takeaway from today's mini session? Thoughts, feelings, questions, confusions, leave them in the comments. And if you want to go deeper with this, if you want to really explore your needs, your relationship vision, if you're single right now and you're getting ready for your next amazing relationship, or if you're in a relationship right now and you want to shift some things to bring in more safety, more security, and more intimacy, then I would love to invite you to join me in our next cohort of the Love Hub. So this is my 12-week group program. You've probably heard me speak about this before. It is going to be amazing. We have less than 10 slots remaining. I'm not sure how many people we're going to have this year, whether it'll be between 5 and 10. And we're going to go through all of the depths of these tools, of these mindsets, of how you can master your shadow, what you can learn from your shadow, and how you can actually use it to strengthen, enliven, and make your relationships more secure. So if you want to get involved in this program, we're going to be covering so many amazing relationship and dating and intimacy tools. We're going to be diving deep into your blocks as well in our one-to-one calls, and getting you moving towards where it is you want to be. Let's make 2025 the year of your great love story. And all you have to do is message Love Hub below. That's 2 words, Love Hub, or 1 word if you want to combine it, Love Hub. And I can reach out to you and we can jump on a call and chat more about it. So I am sending so much love to all of you guys, and I hope you're having an amazing day, or the best day that's available to you. Remember to stick around because we're going to be doing another live video tomorrow. If you have anything in particular that you would like me to cover, then leave that in a comment too. And I might do a video of that in the next 32 days. So I will see you back in the community really soon. And Take care. Lots of love.